Hey everybody, this is Josh Peak. Welcome to the Josh Peak Show, where I'm your host. You can find my podcast all over the internet when it comes to podcast syndicates at iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, Google, whatever. Also, you can find me at joshpeak.com, where all my resources are on the resource page. People are learning how to grow businesses or wanting to know how to start a business. I have all the tools, tricks there at joshpeak.com, and go to the resource tab. If you want to contact me, the contact is there as well on the contact page. Today I'm excited because we're interviewing Nathan Hirsch. He's the co-founder of the Outsource School. I've talked a lot about outsourcing, having a virtual team, scaling, growing, and automating your business. He takes it even a step further. He's done very, very well in this department, and I've learned a lot just from the short amount of time of listening to him and also watching some of his things at the Outsource School. So you really want to listen to this, take notes. If you're growing a business or if you're starting a business, or even you got a big business already that's growing at a rapid rate and you want to bring in a virtual team or learn how to do that, this is where you do it. This is where you learn. You can find me also on social media, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Pinterest, Parler, at Josh Peak, and we can connect there as well if you have questions or want to connect with me. So you're really going to enjoy this show. We always interview high producers, whether that be athletes, other podcasters, politicians. We've even had Olympians on here as well. So this is going to be a good one with Nathan Hirsch. I think you're going to enjoy it. So thank you, and I appreciate it. And please rate my show, leave a review so other people that are wanting to listen or just finding my show can have an idea of kind of what we're doing here. So thank you. Hey everybody, this is Josh Peak. Welcome to the Josh Peak Show, where I have entrepreneurs, sometimes politicians. We've had Olympians on our show, and as well as other podcasters. And today I'm excited. Been trying to get this set up for quite some time, and I love watching the guy that I'm getting ready to interview, his stuff on Facebook and other social media outlets as well. And so today I have Nathan Hirsch, and so I've been outsourcing for quite some time myself. I think everybody that's listening to the show is going to learn a lot because Nathan, I feel like, has taken it to a whole new level. He systemized everything, and Nathan is the co-founder of the Outsource School. Nathan, I appreciate you coming on today.
Yeah, Josh, thanks for having me. Excited to be here.
Well, I am too. It's interesting, even just how you and I have interacted. Everything from what I gather, has been outsourced. You got a scheduler and everything else. I'm assuming it's a virtual assistant too. Is that right?
That does my scheduling?
Yeah.
Yeah, I have a VA that does my scheduling and runs my inbox. It's actually one of the first hires I've made in all my companies, just to keep me focused on what I should be focused on and not spending hours every morning in my inbox or rescheduling and scheduling meetings, just having a VA handle it from day one.
Well, cool. Well, tell me how you got started as being an entrepreneur, and where it all started for you.
Yeah, so I was a broke college kid. I went to Quinnipiac University in Connecticut, and I started off getting ripped off by my college buying and selling textbooks, and I would buy textbooks at the beginning of the semester, sell them back. They wouldn't offer me much money for them, so I started to not sell back to the store and sell them online to different distributors, one of which was Amazon, and had a lot of success doing that with my own books. So I started selling other people's books and created a referral program. Before I knew it, lines are out my door of people trying to sell me their books. And so from there, I actually got a cease and desist letter from my college telling me to knock it off and stop competing with them. So I pivoted, and I had this Amazon account that I was selling books on. It was 2009, so Amazon was just bursting out of the scene, selling other products. And I started just experimenting. I spent a good 6 to 9 months just trying lots of different products on Amazon and contacting other manufacturers and seeing what kind of relationships I could build as a 20-year-old entrepreneur, which wasn't very many. But I eventually came across baby products, and that really changed my life. I started selling hundreds of thousands of baby products out of my college dorm room, and I had to start hiring people. And I quickly hired some college kids, people that were in my fraternity, people I went to school with, and that was a disaster. They were very unreliable, didn't really take it seriously. And so I went out and tried to hire U.S. employees, adults, and they didn't really take me seriously as a 20-year-old entrepreneur. So a buddy of mine told me about the virtual assistant space, the Upworks and the Fivers of the world. So I hired my first virtual assistant. She was an absolute rock star. I got really lucky, didn't really know what I was doing. And my next hires after that were not that good. But I saw a solution there that if I could figure out how to hire virtual assistants and take advantage of this affordable talent around the world, that I would have a solution to my hiring issue. So me and my business partner, Connor, we spent a good few years creating the perfect hiring system. And once we did that, our life again changed. I mean, we sold over $25 million on Amazon with the business completely run by virtual assistants. We started another marketplace or another business called FreeUp that was a marketplace for freelancers run completely by virtual assistants. And we got this business to 8 figures with no office, no US employees. We were acquired at the end of last year, which was kind of cool. And then we set out on this new adventure, Outsource School, to give other entrepreneurs our systems, our processes, so they can skip the trial and error and just be able to take our hiring systems and plug them into their business to build different roles and different teams.
That's awesome, man. Well, yeah, I mean, in 2000, I think it was 2008 or 2009 is when I got my start with hiring a virtual assistant. There was a guy out of Houston, Texas that had sold a business. He had a virtual assistant, and I had met him through another girl that I knew, and it was kind of the same thing. This guy was already trained. He already, for search engine optimization, everything but like writing letters, emails, things of that nature, because it was a Filipino, so didn't have the best skills in that department. But so, I mean, and my whole thing was, oh my gosh, like he got so much done in such a quick amount of time. I'm thinking, how am I going to feed this guy more work? I mean, I was excited. I mean, he just moved so fast. Well, fast forward a few years later, I have a girl that obviously he knew, and whatever was more of a technical virtual assistant. And so I brought her on as well. And so that's really why I wanted to have you on, because I think that with your systems and what you've done, you've taken outsourcing probably to a whole higher level than most. I guess a question I probably have for you is, and I'd like to listen how you answer this, because I don't tell everybody that I have a virtual assistant, because there are certain people that have just an idea of, so why are you outsourcing, to another country or to another person, whenever you could be doing it here in the United States? But you've kind of already answered that in that, well, sometimes it's hard to even find good people here that are willing to do it at that price. How would you answer that? Like if someone, when they're questioning, like, well, why would you hire, say, a Filipino or some other country versus here in the United States?
Yeah, I mean, the first thing is the hiring process we teach at Outsource School work no matter where you hire from.
Mm-hmm.
If you hire in the U.S., Philippines, India, we have plenty of people who take our meeting templates, for example, and use them on their U.S. staff or their hybrid staff of U.S. and non-U.S. So, I mean, that's more of a personal preference than anything else. I mean, I'm a big believer in flexibility. I like to be able to hire talent, not just in my town and the towns around me, but all over the world at different price points, different skill sets. And I also like to give back to other communities. I mean, we give 3% of all Outsource School sales to our favorite charity, Teach for the Philippines. And even when we sold FreeUp, we took $500,000 from the sale and gave it to our internal team in the Philippines to make sure they were taken care of and make sure their jobs were secure. And I mean, if you think that COVID and the pandemic is rough in the U.S., imagine what it's like in a third world country. So I look at it as a way to help them, give them opportunities that they wouldn't have gotten here. And I've also had experiences where U.S. hires just didn't work out. I mean, let's say you hire a customer service rep in the U.S. for $15 an hour, which isn't a super high rate. It's not a super low rate. It's a decent rate for a customer service rep. Mm-hmm. Well, best case scenario, you train them, they become really good at customer service. How long are they going to be happy at $15 an hour? Eventually, you're going to have to pay them 18, 20, 25, whatever it is. And then you have a tough decision to make. Are you drastically overpaying for customer service, or are you starting all over and just wasting all that training time where you hire someone in the Philippines, you start them at 5, they're a rock star, best case scenario. You increase them to 6, 7, 8, 9. they're going to be with you for a very long time. And that's going to allow you to use that money for other tasks. And that other task could be, let's say, a high level US Facebook ad person, which you wouldn't have been able to afford if all your money was in customer service. And I've seen plenty of times where businesses that just couldn't hire employees use virtual assistants to bridge the gap to eventually hire US employees. So it's not always as cut and dry as you're either hiring US or you're not hiring US and you're taking away US jobs. There's a lot of in between there and a lot of ways that it benefits both US and non-US people.
Yeah, that's a good way of answering that. So what are you, I guess that brings me to the next question. So in this COVID situation, are you seeing more and more people go and being the virtual route? In terms of business owners and people who just want to be a virtual assistant, are you seeing more of that happening now, or is it staying about the same, or what are you seeing?
Yeah, it's funny. I mean, I feel like the people that were already hiring VAs and stuff, like their life didn't really change that much. If anything, maybe their business picked up. But there's a whole group of entrepreneurs, and I network with a lot of people over the years that I heard for years when I was running Free Up that they only hired US. They only had people in their office. That was the way they liked it. They liked being able to talk to people at the water cooler and all that. And now all those people can't do that even if they wanted to, depending on where they live. And they've all switched their attention to remote. And now that they know they have to hire remote, now they're much more open to, okay, if I'm hiring remote, I don't need to hire people just in my town. Why don't I take advantage of the gig economy and hire people more flexible from around the world at different price points? But they're also realizing that it's a lot different than hiring in person, where outsource school can come into play. So I definitely have seen a mindset shift among entrepreneurs just because the old way doesn't work anymore.
Yeah. I think it's going to be interesting. We see, especially in the big cities like New York and say LA and places, that commercial real estate, it's going to be really interesting to see how that plays out, because now you got people working from home with Zoom and everything else. And I think people are catching on to, they can be a virtual assistant or do a side hustle or whatever and make pretty decent money with it. What type of businesses do you see? And I'm sure you probably see across the board, but what type of businesses use virtual assistants, or that are in your outsource school? Is it digital agencies? Is it people that are using it for Amazon and Shopify type stores? Where are you seeing the majority or a lot of people using virtual assistants?
Yeah, I would say most of our clients fall into that digital entrepreneur space. They could be e-commerce sellers, they could be marketing agencies, consultants, coaches, freelancers. There's different people in the digital space. But I mean, we've got plenty of people that are outside of those norms, whether they're real estate agents, software companies, brick and mortar stores. There was a sushi restaurant that used to be a client of Free Up that was right down the street from me. I've seen gyms. So I mean, there's so many different companies now that VAs just apply to everyone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so, are you seeing companies that use this? I guess this is a question for me. Say you're a digital marketing agency or any other type of business, and you want to go, say you've already been part of this because you've had an acquisition. You want to sell your company. Say you build a digital marketing agency to whatever point. A lot of it's built on virtual assistants. So is that an easier acquisition, or would that be a tougher acquisition since you've already got it built in for whoever wants to buy it?
Yeah, it's a great question. I've actually heard both ways. I mean, obviously, I sold a business completely run by VAs. It didn't hurt our sale. If anything, it helped our sale because the business owners knew they don't have to deal with benefits and employee laws and all sorts of different things. And they just had a lot of flexibility there. I think it helps. I think that if I'm a new owner or if I'm someone looking to buy a business, why wouldn't I want a business that has more flexibility, cheaper labor, talented, no matter where they are? But I'm sure there's people that look at it as a disadvantage. They're not 100% sure how to quantify it compared to other businesses run by US. Maybe the people buying it aren't as comfortable with VAs as the person running it. So they have fear of turnover or trust or other issues there. But I think, and just from the people I've talked to, I think it's definitely moving towards that's what buyers want, opposed to that's what buyers are scared of.
Right. That's what I would think. I mean, if I was buying a company and you had someone who had a complete system laid out, you had the virtual assistants already built in, and I'm just taking this thing over, I mean, I think it'd be very lucrative as a buyer.
Yeah, I would agree with you.
Yeah. Well, let's talk about the Outsource school a little bit. And if you're listening to this, I am going to have a link inside this podcast. My podcast is listened to all over the world. And so if you're on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, any of the major podcast platforms, you'll be able to. It's just the Josh Peak Show, and there'll be a link inside of the section to where we have the summary, and I will have a link to the Outsource School to where you can learn more about it. But just give me an overview, and the listeners here, give an overview of really what it is, what's involved in it, what they could expect. I'm sure there's different levels, so just give us an overview of what they can expect to learn.
Yeah, so Outsource School is a membership. And if you become a member, you get access to our unique hiring process, which allows you to hire rock stars quickly whenever you need to. You get access to different trainings on how to set up different roles and teams inside your business, stuff like podcast outreach, lead generation, customer service. And we release a new training every single month. You also get access to our support and community, which helps you eliminate turnover and reduce hiring issues. So we have lots of different trainings, tactics, stuff like that you can plug right into your business. Once you do sign up, you get an onboarding call with my team where they create a custom roadmap depending on where you are in your business, because everyone that starts with us is a little bit different in their hiring journey. And you can also give our trainings directly to your team, your COO, your project manager, your team leader. And lastly, as an added bonus, we have a software called Simply SOP, where members get access to that to create and share SOPs, standard operating procedures, with their team, which makes it a lot easier and more organized for their business.
Sweet. Well, I'll tell you what, I know that we have a lot of listeners on my show, or that listen to my show, that are going to be interested in this. We have some businesses that I work with. I mean, my digital agency works with, that I think would benefit from this as well, because my show is based and geared towards entrepreneurs. So I've been talking a long time. Obviously the 4-hour work week was when it really all started for me, when I started learning about virtual assistants. But I like what you've done here. I like what you've taken it, and you can go read the 4-hour work week and you get kind of an idea. But then you're going to be it's going to be trial and error, just like you were talking about before. With this type of system, you've already got kind of a template, something to work with, I guess, and trainings that teach people how to go and they're not really wasting time or money. As far as with a virtual assistant, they actually have something they can, kind of a blueprint they can use to actually do better with outsourcing. Is that right?
Yeah, I mean, we're also talking very high level stuff. Like, yeah, if you're going to hire a data entry virtual assistant, maybe you don't need Outsource School, but maybe you do. But I mean, we hire VAs to do high level sales calls, customer service, project managers, team leaders, billing, high level lead generation. I've been on 300 plus podcasts. We use VAs to get on podcasts, and we teach you how to set up all that stuff inside your business. So your business not only runs without you, but it becomes scalable, and the entire scalable part of your business is run by affordable talent.
Nice. Well, Nathan, I really appreciate you coming on. I know we're both busy people, and it took us a little bit to get this put together, but that says a lot. I mean, when you're busy, it's good. And so, and like you said, you've been on over 300 podcasts, this being one of them now. And so I really appreciate you coming on and explaining what Outsource School is. I'm excited to learn a little bit more about it and get involved in it as well, because I've got 2 VAs, and I think it'd be obviously helpful for me to utilize it as well. Again, I'm going to have a link in the podcast where you can learn more about it as well. Nathan, is there anything else that, lasting comments that you'd like to leave before we go?
No, I appreciate you having me on.
Well, I appreciate it as well. Again, Nathan Hirsch, where can they find you at? I mean, obviously Facebook, but where are some other places they can, my listeners can find you on social media?
Yeah, Nathan Hirsch, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn. I post a lot of content there. And if you go to outsourceschool.com, you can check out a lot more about our program.
Thank you. Well, I appreciate it. You have a good rest of the day, Nathan. And I hope everybody listens to this podcast, learned a little bit, and probably is a little bit more curious about what it is that Outsource School is. So, again, I appreciate you coming on, Nathan.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.